We are here today for an adoption, and we are conducting this through the Zoom program. Vivian is a very long way away from us now. So New Jersey, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So we are conducting this through the Zoom program under a finding of good cause and by agreement of the parties. Save you all a trip from New Jersey all the way back to Bailey County. And there's a lot of you, so that would have been a very expensive trip.
Thank you.
Okay. We are also live streaming on our YouTube channel right now. Miss Taylor is here today. She's making a record of this. So we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Your Honor, Barbara Dickerson, it's my privilege today to represent James and Melissa Perrone in this adoption, and we are present and ready.
Stacy Grant, attorney ad litem for the child, the subject of the adoption. I'm present and ready.
All right, and also present with us today is Casa, who have been on this journey with us for many years now. So we welcome them, and we're glad they're all logged in. All right, then, Ms. Dickerson, who's going to testify today?
James Perrone, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. James, you and your wife, Melissa, have filed an original petition for adoption of the beautiful young lady seated near you, Vivian. Is that correct?
Yes.
And could you have her wave to us, please? There she is. Good morning. And is it true that she was born in Butler 2011?
Yes.
And is it also true that as a result of state involvement in her life, that the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services is her current managing conservator?
Yes.
And do we have with us today Ms. Dakota Miller and Ms. Zona Ramsey, who are here on behalf of the department?
Yes, we do.
And is it true that the department through St. Francis has agreed to this adoption and waived service?
Yes.
Do we also have with us today Ms. Stacy Grant, who has served as Vivian's attorney ad litem?
Yes.
And is it true that Vivian has been in your home longer than 6 months?
Yes.
Has the department through St. Francis agreed to this adoption and waived service?
Yes.
And is it true that in preparing for this adoption today, that you have done everything that this court, the agency, and the state of Texas has required that you do?
Yes.
And does that include that all documents that you have signed and that the agency has signed are on file with this court?
Yes.
And did you also participate in what is known as a social study that has looked into your suitability and background to parent Vivian into adulthood?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that the recommendation filed with this court today is that this court should consider granting this adoption today?
Yes.
And are we also very privileged today to have the CASA volunteers and supervisors who have worked so hard on your case?
Yes. Thank you.
Is it true that we have discussed that should this court grant this adoption today, that would instill in you and Melissa all of the legal rights, legal duties, and legal responsibilities that are afforded all parents in the state of Texas?
Yes.
And do you take those duties, rights, and responsibilities seriously?
Yes.
Do you commit to her, to this court, to your friends and family, and to everyone who's worked hard on this case, that you will continue to provide her with a loving, stable, nurturing home?
Yes.
And can you share with us what it is that makes Vivian so special?
Well, it's actually one year ago today, right about this time, we traveled down to Texas and we met Vivian for the first time 1 year ago today. Right now, we picked her up from her placement and she spent a few days with us. And she's got a lot of energy. We knew that. And she's she wants to do good. That she's very helpful. She's just good all around. So there's nothing in particular. She's good.
She loves doing.
And she loves her boating and kayaking and swimming down here at the Jersey Shore. And she's coming around in school, doing very well, and she wants to learn. And that's what's special about her, that she wants to do well. And that's what we're doing it. We're all doing it together.
Thank you so much. It's so joyous that this is occurring on the very day that you met her. That's a very special anniversary.
It really is.
Are you asking this court today to consider changing her name and that from this point forward, she should be known as Vivian?
Yes, ma'am.
And with the choice of that name, you are joining her past with her future. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And do you believe that this adoption will be in her best interest?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would pass this witness.
All right, thank you. Ms. Grant, do you have any questions?
No questions, Judge.
All right. All right, Ms. Dickerson, any further witnesses today?
No, Your Honor, we would rest and close.
Okay. Vivian? How old are you right now?
How old are you?
11.
Okay. You're about to have your 12th birthday. Coming up pretty quick. So if you'd already had your 12th birthday, I'd have to be asking you if you were okay with this, but you're so close. I'm going to ask you anyway. Is this what you want to do today?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Looks like you are in a wonderful home. Who's your four-legged buddy there?
What is it? Cooper.
Say it again, louder.
Cooper.
Cooper.
Cooper. Okay. Well, Cooper's a good-looking dog.
Thank you.
So
It's over to girls.
we're all dog people around here. So that's one of the fun things about Zoom hearings is we get to see people's dogs. We didn't ever get to see people's pets when we were in person in court.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you are just doing great where you are. I'm envious. You're right there where you can enjoy the ocean and you can kayak and do all kinds of neat stuff. So that's really great. And I think you're in a very good place. All right. Ms. Grant, do you have any witnesses today?
No witnesses, Your Honor, just recommendation.
All right. And at this time, I will take your recommendation.
Your Honor, I'm very happy for Vivian and happy to recommend that adoption by the Perone family today is in her best interest and that she's lucky to have them and they are lucky to have her. And I wish them all the best.
All right. And I would like to hear from our friends at CASA.
Yes, Your Honor. We are super excited for the Perone family and especially Vivian that they get to start their family journey together and there's no concerns at all. So we're super excited for all of them.
All right. Very good then. Okay. I am looking at the proposed order that Ms. Dickerson has submitted to me. I've looked through that. Everything appears to be in order. I will find that the parent-child relationship between Vivian's biological parents has previously been terminated, that she is eligible for adoption, that she has resided in the home of the Perones now for over 6 months. And congratulations again on this being your 1-year anniversary with your new family. I'll find that all requirements under the laws of the state of Texas have been complied with regarding social studies, health, social, educational, genetic reports, criminal history information, and that the interstate compact has also been complied with. I will also make a finding that the managing conservator, who is the Department of Family and Protective Services, has consented to the adoption and that the adoption is in the best interest of the child. So last but not least, then Vivian, I'm going to grant the name changes requested. And from now on, you will be known as Vivian. And that I will sign this order. We will get it filed. You all will get copies. Ms. Dickerson will walk you through the rest of that and how to get your birth certificate amended and all those little details that have to happen. But you are now officially part of the Perone family. Congratulations to you. It's a very, very happy moment for all of you. And I like to ask kids when I do adoptions, you know, I'm going to sign this court order. Is there anything in there you want me to add in? Like you never have to take the trash out, or you don't have to make your bed, or anything like that? Because this is the time to ask.
No, yes.
Okay, well, I won't go that far, but here's another just quick little pointer for you. I also tell a lot of kids who are in adoptions that now you have 2 birthdays. You've got your birthday coming up that's in August, and now this will be a very special day. So, you know, you're just going to have to tell the old folks they're going to have to give you 2 parties every year. Okay, Vivian, congratulations to all of you, and hope you all have a great day. Looks like you've got some celebratory decorations going on there. So y'all have a wonderful day, and thank you for allowing me to do this. It's been my privilege, and I'm so pleased, Vivian, that this day is finally here.
Thank
We're here on our adversary hearing. We're conducting this through the Zoom program under a finding of good cause and consent and agreement of the parties. I believe Ms. Burks resides in Colorado at this time. And we are live streaming on our YouTube channel, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm Tate Eldridge. I represent Serena Burks. We're both present, ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Zach Quavian, who at this time prefers to go by Zach.
Zach, okay.
All right, then, Mr. Trout.
Yes, Your Honor. We have an agreement as far as the department being temporary managing conservator of the child. We're not asking for any child support at this time. I think visitations would be as mom and child would like. I don't, Mr. Eldridge can speak a little more to that, but that is the agreement at this time.
That's our agreement, Your Honor. My client stated she would be willing to give her number out for Zach to call if he wants to, but she lives in Colorado Springs and the distance is not really appropriate for visitation at this point. And there's been, you know, some issues, the reason we're here. So if he wants to reach out to her, she's okay with that. Otherwise, we're not asking for any visitation.
Okay. And if you know, if Zach's willing and Ms. Berkshire willing, I mean, we can even probably set those up where they would be done by, you know, video.
Okay.
Which I think sometimes makes it a little easier. So, but that doesn't have to be set in stone today, you know, so we can just sort of leave that out there and see kind of what develops. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Zavala, where is Zach placed right now?
He is in region, but far off. He's in Levelland. I will tell you, I tried to Zoom with him and we had to switch to a phone call because the Wi-Fi was so bad at his location. But
Okay.
we were able to have a nice long phone conversation and talked about a lot of issues.
Okay. All right. Well, we can cross that bridge, you know, maybe once he gets into some counseling and gets some other things going. Okay, Ms. Burks, I appreciate you appearing this morning and I appreciate your patience. The then I will, Ms. Zavala, any recommendation to make?
Yes, I do believe this agreement is in his best interest. And so I do recommend that the department be named temporary managing conservator.
All right, then I will follow the agreement and find that the evidence is sufficient to name the department as temporary managing conservator. I'll not order any child support or medical support to be paid by Ms. Burks at this time. And we'll leave the issue of visitation up to maybe child's counselor and Ms. Burks when they're ready for that. Our status hearing is scheduled for September 5th of 2023. That'll be a 9 o'clock docket. Ms. Burks, before that hearing, the representatives of St. Francis, who is a contractor with the department, will be, visiting with you about services, what we kind of need to see happen in this case if reunification is ever going to be a possibility. I know it's early on, sometimes these things start in one place, but they end up in a very different one. So anyway, we'll all get back together on September 5th to talk about those things, and we'll see how things are going at that point in time. I think they had to do with visitation issues. And we are, of course, conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement and consent of the parties. And Ms. Taylor is making a record for us today. Okay, then we'll take everybody's announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Just to respond for Mother Christine Messmer, who is the one that told me we were on mute. We're present, we're ready, Judge.
Joel Jackson on behalf of Timothy Sherrill, the father, present, ready, Your Honor.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Keegan, here and ready.
Who wants to go? Who wants to announce or whatever?
I guess I can. We will, during visitations, it's agreed, and I think this has already happened, but no electronics, no iPads, any of that stuff during the visits with the children. As far as with, we're gonna move 1 hour of the visit to a therapeutic visit. That'll probably start when the therapist can, around the first part of August, 1st of August. I think is when her schedule can accommodate, then go into 1 hour of their regular visit as they're doing now. In order to help out with the child on this.
So let me clarify.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they have more than 1 hour a week, right?
They have 2 hours, I believe it's 2 hours right now from 6 to 8. They're going to do the first hour therapeutic with the counselor, and then they'll move to their regular visit for another hour.
Okay, gotcha. I just want to make sure I understood that.
Yes, ma'am. So it'll still be a 6 to 8 visit. It'll be 1 hour therapeutic, 1 hour regular. Or whatever times. The timing may change a little bit. We're going to keep them on Wednesdays at this point. I think the therapist has already been notified to accommodate Mr. Sherrill's work schedule. But as far as timing, that could change, I believe, a little bit depending on the therapist for the therapeutics, her caliber. If she can do a 6 or maybe have to go to a 5 or something like that. So that'll be worked out as far as scheduling once they get to going on the schedule.
Okay.
I believe from our end, is there, Stacy, did I leave anything out, Joel, Teresa?
Well, Judge, I was going to mention, am I muted again? No. Oh, thank you. That really the basis for doing it within the current visitation, the 2 hours, is because of the transportation issue.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Wilbanks can, if her schedule accommodates additional family therapy by Zoom until our clients get transportation, then we had asked that be part of the agreement. And then after they get transportation, then my understanding is we'll go back to like the regular visits And then they'll have their family therapy scheduled separately because they'll be able to drive themselves to Lubbock. We understand the lack of transportation resources. So they've always done their 2 hours in one visit. The department is currently St. Francis is currently transporting. So my client's in agreement today and anxious to get that started.
Okay.
And
And
Judge,
Judge, I just wanted to clarify, in the meantime, until that is scheduled with Dr. Wilbanks, my understanding is they're still going to remain entitled to their 2 hour regular supervised visit. Like they're not going to get cut back while we're waiting for that time.
that's correct. That's correct. They won't be cut back. And is to the, once they get their own transportation, of course, those will be looked at that time on depending on where parents stand with drug screens and services and that kind of stuff on whether anything increases. But that will be something that'll be broached at a later date.
Okay. Just the normal things that hinges on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So.
And as long as the therapist, the therapeutic therapist recommends if there is additional screen time, that would be our therapeutic visits via iPad at this point. If that comes up, those would be strictly limited to the therapeutic visits.
Okay. All right. All right, Mr. Jackson, you have anything to add? You think this covers it?
I think that covers everything. We're in agreement with that, Judge.
Okay. And Ms. Zavala?
Yes, Your Honor. I've been in communication with Keegan's therapist. I do think that this agreement will help with some of those things. If we don't see the needed changes, we can always come back and address it at that point. I believe that this agreement is in Keegan's best interest, and that we should go from there.
Okay, we're doing the visits with both children.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, even the therapeutic will involve older brother.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure, since I know we were only here really discussing Keegan today, but okay, I want to just be sure I understood. Okay. All right, then. I mean, it sounds like a plan. His history has been, he kind of has an issue with, I guess, being overly stimulated and the sleeping issues at night and all that. So I think anything we can do that, this may be trial and error, y'all. I mean, that's just the way it is sometimes.
Yes.
So I appreciate everybody getting together and trying to work out, an arrangement and something that maybe will be better for the child, and hopefully it will be, and we kind of get over the hump, and then things can sort of go back to normal. So, all right.
And Judge, when I was talking about the iPads and stuff, I think what we're looking for is no screen time during those visits. Is kind of what I meant to say. I don't know if I said that appropriately.
Right. And that's from our prior discussion when we got into this at our last review hearing. I mean, that was certainly that was my understanding about what.
I don't think that's been cut out at this point already, but just want to clarify on that.
And just to be clear, when you say no screen time, it was my understanding that there weren't any restrictions as far as the family watching television together.
And Jalissa, if somebody can clarify on that, that was my understanding also, but I think, because I noticed that some of the last visitation notes had mentioned they had watched like the Alphabet movie or something. I was assuming that was on the television and not on an iPad or phone or anything. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, I don't think that, I have not seen anything where there's a problem with watching a family movie, but iPads, telephones, that sort of stuff is what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay. Personal communication devices.
There we go.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the issue was the actual presence of the iPad, not what was being shown on it. I don't think there's any indication that there was anything inappropriate being shown, but just
Yes.
the use of the device.
Okay. All right. I think everybody understands. So appreciate it. And I don't know whether y'all want to put this in some kind of order, or I've certainly got my notes and a docket entry, and just it's whatever y'all want to do. If you want to send me an order, I'm happy to sign it. So,
Daniel, St. Francis would like it in an order, please.
We'll get some over to you, Judge.
okay, all right. Okay, then, just run it past all the attorneys and make sure that they've approved it, and then
Yes, ma'am.
y'all can send it to me. Okay, thank y'all so much. And Mr. Trout, did you see my email about those other orders?
I did. And I think one of them just came back through to work, so I will get those sent out.
Okay.